Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. I am Professor Dr. Zora Nazir Kiani from the Physics Department of Lahore College for Women University Lahore. I am teaching you MS Physics course Semiconductor Electronic Devices, and you know that we are doing the p-n junction fabrications. In our previous lectures, we have studied different methods to fabricate the p-n junction. So one method which is common to all is that the deposition of silicon dioxide over the silicon substrate. And then we have discussed the diffusion process. We have discussed rapid thermal annealing process. We have discussed CVD. And today we will discuss an important method, ion implantation, which is used all over the world to fabricate p-n junction or even dope the semiconductor material by pentavalent or trivalent impurity by using the ion implantation. So what is the ion implantation and what is required for it? A wafer is required and a high energy accelerator is required. So wafer is a target in a high energy accelerator. Impurities shot into wafer. That is, we direct impurities or the dopant which are to be added in the substrate. We will just implant it or shot it on the wafer. Preferred method of adding impurities to wafers are wide range of impurity species, almost anything, tight dose controls, that is a few percent versus 20-30% for high temperature pre-deposition processes. Then low temperature process. But one disadvantage of this ion implantation method is that your system is expensive, and as well as vacuum system is required. Girls, tell me, do you know that in Pakistan, where the first accelerator were installed? Okay, think about it. Search the universities in Lahore and bring your answer in the Google class. So basically, ion implantation was introduced in 1960 as compared to conventional chemical diffusion route was used to dope the semiconductor material. In this ion implantation, high accuracy over many orders of the magnitude of doping levels. You can control the depth profile by controlling the ion energy and channeling effect. And dopants into selected region using masking material. Both P and N type of dopants are used. Recovering implant damaged silicon crystalline by thermal annealing. Definition of ion implantation. Then CMOS energy range is 0.2 kilo electron volt to 2 million electron volt. Now, what is the conventional ion implantation method? Here you can see that plasma is created. Ions are extracted from plasma. Then ions are accelerated to high energy. Then they pass through this mass separator. So this mass separator actually separate ion magnetically. Then selected ions are implanted on the substrate and other one were the let to go. This is a conventional method of ion implantation. So what is the basic machinery used? What is the actual process used? So ion implantation is the dominant method of doping used today. In spite of the creating enormous lattice damage, it is favored. It is low temperature technique, although expensive, although create lattice damage, but still it is favored because it has large range of doses, extremely accurate dose control, essential for MOS VT control, Buried profiles are possible. This is low temperature process, and wide choice of masking materials can be used. There are also some significant disadvantages of this process. Damage to crystal, as I say, the ion implantation will damage your lattice. Anomalous transitory, enhanced diffusion upon annealing this damage, charging of insulating layer. So these are the some disadvantages which you face during ion implantation. For the ion implantation, you have got this ion source and it is accelerated, passed through analyzing magnet. Then here is the accelerator which accelerated, and now here you have kept a slit to focus it. Then it will pass through the neutral gate, and then it will pass through these, and then it will strike the wafer. So this is the process by which the ion implantation takes place. Now this is the internal structure of your ion implantation system. Here is the target chamber. Here you can see target chamber. Here are the silicon wafers placed. These small silicon wafers, they are placed here. Now from here you can see you have created vacuum on this side. Here is the ion source which emit ions, and then here is a lens which direct the ions forward. This ion beam go to the mass separator having electromagnet. Heavier ion will move on one side, lighter ion will move on the other side, and then the lighter and heavier ions are separated. The required ions will move in the forward direction, passing through the second electrical lens. Then they are again accelerated. Then there is the y-axis deflection plate, x-axis deflection plate, and after passing through these deflection plates, they will go to and strike to the wafer. So this is the internal assembly of your ion implantation system. Now here the same is all the system is same, just the figure is different. That here you've got ion source, again the same mass separator, then again there is beam resolving split, beam accelerator, horizontal scanner, vertical scanner, and then wafer, and here you have got an integrator which will record your ion beam current. So this is the your basic assembly of the ion implantation system. So now what is actually going and why we are preferring it? So basically this is a useful alternative to high temperature diffusion process in which the energetic ions are implanted, are driven to the semiconductor. In this beam, in this process, a beam of impurity ions is accelerated, that is dopants ion is accelerated to kinetic energies ranging from several kilo electron volt to several million electron volt, and is directed on the surface of semiconductor. As the impurity atoms enter the crystal, they give up their energy in collision and finally come to rest at an average penetration depth called the projected range. Depending upon the impurity and the implantation energy, the energy in a given conductor may vary from few hundred angstrom to about 1 micrometer. For most implantation, the ion comes to rest distributed almost evenly about the projected range Rp. I will show you this figure in the next slide. Now, first of all, understand this equation which govern your this ion implantation process. An implanted dose of 5 ions per centimeter square is distributed approximately by a Gaussian formula, and this is that Gaussian formula. And here your phi is the dose of the implanted material. This is the dose of the implanted materials. This delta Rp is called the strangle, struggle, and it measures the half width of distribution at exponential minus 1 by 4. And here both your RP, that is what is projected range, and your struggle, both increases with increasing the implantation energy, both increases with the increases of implantation energy. And this x is the distance covered by the ion beam in the horizontal direction. Okay, such type of figure we can obtain, that is the distance from the surface, which is in micrometer, and then here you can write any concentration, the dopant which you are using. So you can see here that in this way your ion will go, and up to this it will reach to the its highest concentration. So this is called the projected range, which is achieved here. Now when you draw a vertical line, then curve on the other side, and the difference between these two will give you the delta P, which is called the struggle. Here the picture is in this figure it is explained, that is the distribution of implanted impurities which obey the Gaussian distribution, which have got certain projected range, and is in this case almost 10 is 14 boron atoms uh, per centimeter square are implanted at energy of 140 electron volt. This is just an example of the one case. Now here you can easily see what is the projected range and what is the struggle. So you have said that basically um, struggle is the half width of distribution at uh, 1 by 2 exponential. So this is the struggle, which is called the struggle. Now in this discussion, what we have just got, that we need a gas containing the desired impurity within the source, and then it is extracted into acceleration tube. After acceleration to the desired kinetic energy, the ions are passed through a mass separator to ensure that only desired ion species enters the drift tube. The ion beam is then focused and scanned electrostatically over the surface of the wafer in the target chamber. Repetitive scanning in a raster pattern provides exceptionally uniform doping of the wafer surface. The target chamber commonly includes automatic wafer handling facilities to speed up the process of implantation, many wafers per hour. And you must have heard that in Japan, these all work is done by the robots. An obvious advantage of ion implantation is that it can be done at relatively low temperature. This means that doping layers can be implanted without damaging the initial layer, and no diffusion of the initially deposited layer is produced. The ion can be blocked by metal as photoresist layer. Therefore, the therefore photolithography techniques are used to define ion implanted doping pattern. We will discuss the photolithography inshallah in 2 lectures in detail. Very shallow, that is 10th of a micron, and well-defined doping layer can be achieved by this method, as many requires thin doping regions and may be improved by ion implantation techniques Second advantage, I've told you that no diffusion take place. But one of the major disadvantage is the precise control over the doping concentration, as well as the ion beam current can be measured accurately during implantation. A precise impurity can be induced. The control over the doping level along with the uniformity of the implant over the wafer surface make ion implantation particularly attractive for fabrication of silicon integrated circuit. But one problem of this doping method is the lattice damage, which results due to collisions of the ions with the lattice atom. However, the most damage can be removed by simply heating the silicon, which is called the annealing. But this heating cannot be done for gallium arsenide because it evaporates. But if we encapsulate it in the silicon nitride layer, then we can also um, keep it safe uh, due to damage from annealing. Therefore, it is common to encapsulate gallium arsenide with layer of silicon nitride during annealing. Another approach is the using rapid thermal processing, which is a quick process. It taken within 10 seconds rather than the conventional furnace. Annealing leads to some unattended diffusion of implanted species. We don't want this diffusion, but still it happens. So it is desirable to minimize this diffusion by optimizing annealing time and temperature. Now, the profile which was obtained before annealing is shown in the upper equation, and after annealing it is shown in the lower equation. The difference between these two equations is that we have attached the thermal budget here during annealing. Thermal budget is a diffusion multiplied by the time factor, that for how much time we have just annealed that sample. So if we control all these, we control this thermal budget, then we can save our device from the damage. So at the end, I must sum up that ion implantation is very useful technique, as well as we can dope very large number of atoms. We can dope a variety of atoms, as well as we work at lower temperature. But disadvantage is that expensive apparatus is required. There is a lattice damage during ion implantation, which should be avoided. At this, I end to my lecture. And thanks for your concentration.